Staring out the window, reaching for a North Star, waiting just to...
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or hi, my name is Stacy if you're new here. So for today's video, I'm doing a full face of Pat McGrath makeup to get this look that you're seeing right here. And Pat McGrath is one of my favorite brands of all time, easily one of my top 3 favorite brands. And I know a lot of you also like Pat McGrath as well. So if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep on watching. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because it really helps out my channel and it would really mean a lot to me. And let's just get right into the video. Okay, so we're gonna start off with foundation. So I have the Pat McGrath foundation here. It looks like this, and I have it in the shade Light 5. So I don't think I've ever featured this foundation on my channel yet, which is part of why I felt like I should do a full face Pat McGrath. First of all, this foundation is extremely liquidy. You have to be careful when you dispense it, because if you like press it too hard, it will like spray out. It literally like runs down my hand like super fast. So it's very runny, like very watery, which I was kind of like surprised by at first. I like to take a foundation brush, spread it all across my skin. So the good thing, because it's so like runny, is that it spreads super easily. Now, I was a little bit late to the game with this foundation. I just never picked it up because the price tag is a little bit high. But since Pat McGrath is one of my favorite brands, I figured I should try it at least. So I only got this foundation like maybe a month ago. I only did this half of my face so you can like see the difference. You see how it's just very perfecting? I'd say it's like a light to medium buildable coverage, but on like the lighter side, especially with the first layer, but you can definitely like build it up a little bit more. This is never gonna give you a ton of coverage though. It's definitely for those more natural looking skin days. I feel like I've never tried a foundation that was like this runny before. Even like the more serum like or skin tint ones, I feel like they still have a little bit more body than this one. Yeah, that was the most shocking to me. And also I feel like because of its runnier consistency, it's very thin on the skin, but I feel like it does have a downside, which is that it's easier to showcase dry skin texture if you have kind of flaky skin or kind of like scaly skin. And I only noticed that when I was using this like chemical exfoliant, but I think I was using it like too much, and my skin started kind of like having these dry patches. I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of like scaly. That sounds really gross, but it's kind of like the stage of the skin before it starts flaking. Like I wasn't having like skin cells flaking off, but it was like kind of like that dry, scaly skin. But I had like little patches of those, and I wore this foundation when I had that problem, and I feel like it kind of emphasized like those textury, like crackly lines. But my regular skin type is like normal to slightly oily. So now I don't have any of those problems, and I feel like it looks great. And you can see how it adds like this natural glow. It's just a very natural finish, light to medium coverage, very perfected looking while still looking like my skin. I feel like it's not super dry skin friendly, but also I have heard some dry skin YouTubers like this foundation, so I'm not sure about that. It's not gonna be like as hydrating, like as a creamy foundation would be, and I feel like it won't like glide over the texture as nicely. That makes sense. But overall, I do like how this foundation looks, and I feel like it lasts pretty long throughout the day too, given its slightly glowier finish. It's a pretty good foundation, but I feel like not holy grail status. Okay, so next up I have the Pat McGrath concealer. This concealer is in the shade L2, by the way, because I prefer like a slightly brighter concealer, not like too bright. So the good thing about this concealer is that I feel like it's relatively full coverage, which I like in a concealer. I want my concealers to be like full coverage because I like more natural medium coverage foundations, but then the whole point of concealer for me is like to conceal specifically the things that I really don't want to see at all, because I don't have dry skin, so I do like matte concealers. I actually had decluttered this concealer at one point, but part of it was because the shade match wasn't good. I picked a concealer that was like too dark. But yeah, this shade is really good for me. I really like the coverage on this, but I will say that I feel like it's kind of easy for this concealer to start to look heavy. So like less is more with this concealer. But I feel like I don't go super heavy handed with it, or like I try only to use it in the targeted areas, which is mostly my under eyes. I feel like it looks great upon first application. Like it definitely like just snatched my under eyes. But I feel like sometimes throughout the day, it kind of like emphasizes my fine lines under my eyes. Certain types of concealers will just like crease even after I powder, which is like why. Sometimes by the end of the day, my concealer looks so like wrinkly and crepey, depending on like what concealer I'm using. So I feel like sometimes the Pat McGrath one kind of gives me that, and sometimes it doesn't. So that's why it's like not a holy grail for me, but I feel like it's still a pretty nice concealer. I just find that my Tarte Shape Tape doesn't do it as much as that. The Pat McGrath reminds me of Tarte Shape Tape, but like my Tarte Shape Tape kind of like smooths over my under eyes more. I think the Pat McGrath is more hydrating. Like it's less matte and less like drawing down like paint, like the Tarte Shape Tape one. The concealer and the foundation kind of rank the same for me, in the sense that like I feel like they're pretty good and I like the way they look, but they have like certain finicky things about them that like make it not my holy grail, especially for those prices, girl. Because we all know Pat McGrath is not for the faint of heart when it comes to the prices. Next I have the under eye powder. So I feel like this is super popular, like every YouTuber raves about it. And honestly, I feel like this does live up to the hype. It's just an extremely finely milled powder. Hopefully you guys can see the dent that I put in this baby. and I haven't even had it for that long. I like how it's super thin, I think just because it's pressed, but you can tell like just how finely milled it is, and it literally makes your under eyes feel like a baby's bottom. Also, it doesn't feel drying at all. Also, I'm gonna use this to set my T-zone today just because we're doing all Pat McGrath, but normally I would just use this for my under eyes because she's expensive and there isn't that much product. I would say use sparingly on the rest of your face, but sometimes like if you're traveling or something and you only want to use one powder, this also works beautifully on the rest of your face. Really like this light shade. It looks white, but it's just translucent. A lot of translucent powders have a color to them, like this Laura Mercier translucent one. You can see how it has like a yellow tinge to it. And I noticed that like, especially if my skin is on the paler side like it is right now, this powder will sometimes darken certain concealers. I feel like this white translucent powder is really good if you have like a fair skin tone because it won't darken your concealer or foundation like some other powders might, even when they claim to be translucent. Okay, so that's the base. Now let me go off camera to do my eyebrows real quick and then I'll be right back to start the eye makeup. Okay, so now I'm back with my brows all done, and I zoom you guys in so you can see me do my eye makeup better. So for today's palette, I think I want to go into this quad called the Fleur Fantasia quad. Looks like this. And I want to go into this one because I feel like it's perfect for spring. I'm getting into the spring mood, okay? I'm a spring baby, so I love spring. The only thing I don't like about it is the pollen. Besides that, like, who doesn't want the birds to be chirping and like the flowers to be blooming and stuff? Also, I haven't featured this quad on my channel yet, and I checked. It's still on the Pat McGrath website. I wasn't sure if it was like a limited edition thing, but I don't think it is. So I'm gonna use it today for like a spring inspired look. So first, I'm gonna go into this peachy shade called Lotus Paradise. And I think I'm just gonna put this all over the crease. So I topped off all my excess just using windshield wiper motions in the crease. Pat McGrath shadows are really pigmented, so if you have a fair skin tone, you just want to work in light layers. But I like how her shadows are just super versatile because you can use them very sheerly, like as you can see, but then you can also build them up if you want a more dramatic look, or just like if you have a deeper skin tone. Like, Miss Pat really did something with her eyeshadows. Also, I feel like nobody ever talks about this specific quad. I think it's very cute and nice for spring, but I can see why, like, I feel like only certain people will like it, especially if you're like more into pastels and things like that. And I'm just putting it under the eye. So we're using this as a transition shade, like basically all over. Another palette that's perfect for spring is the Utopian Dreams palette, which I might pull a couple shades from, but I don't want to like focus on that today just because I already have like multiple videos up on my channel of like me using it or like looks with it. So yeah, you can find them somewhere up on my channel. I'll link one up here. Okay, so now we're gonna go into this beautiful lavender shade called Lavender Blue. So the only thing about this one is it's metallic, I think, but it's a little bit more on the satiny side. Maybe it is supposed to be satin, I don't know. Basically, it's not the most impactful. Well, that actually looks really nice. But I just mean like it's not the most high shine. The reflectiveness is more just like, it has like a sheeny quality to it. Hopefully you can see that. And it has like a duochrome nature, like a blue lavender flip. It's literally called Lavender Blue, so yeah, it has both. So yeah, super pretty, very light and pastel-y. But yeah, actually, I do like this shade because I feel like the flip is pretty obvious, which I think is kind of hard to find in like these types of more satiny formulas. Like usually it would be like in a high shine formula. So it's very interesting. But next, I'm gonna go into this shade, which is also like a duochrome shade called Iridescent Orchid. You see how it kind of has like this orangey duochrome to it, and then it has like a magenta fuchsia color. It's also metallic, but it's like slightly more glittery. So I'm gonna use this on top, and I really like how it like transforms this look. Also, it's quite warm tone on its own, but when you layer it over the lavender blue, it just makes a warmer purple. Yeah, I just love that Pat McGrath just like makes me want to play with color, and her color combinations just really inspire me. I'm just layering this on top, also just to give it like some extra shine because I do like a more shiny lid. And same on this side. Well, I guess what would have made this palette even nicer is if it had a special shade, like instead of this kind of gold metallic, but it's still really pretty. And I think that this palette is just meant to give you a more subtle like wash of color on the eyes rather than anything super dramatic. I'm gonna go into the Utopian Dream palette. I feel like I featured this one a lot on my channel. I was also wearing the shadow in my 2021 Best of Beauty video. So I think I'm gonna go into this one today, which is like a pinky green duochrome. Hopefully you can see that pink to green shift right here. So I'm just gonna try to place this in the center. I think that's giving what needed to be gave. Also, I feel like the more pinky purpley base that we have going on is kind of bringing out the pink in the duochrome. Sometimes I feel like it looks a little bit too green, and it definitely does have like a green reflection to it. Like right now, it is giving the pinky green. Okay, yeah, that is absolutely stunning. Okay, I'm in love. Definitely did have some fallout though, so just be aware. Okay, so I'm gonna be really extra and go into another palette, but you don't have to do this part. But basically I'm going into the Divine Rose 2 palette, which is also really pretty. My favorite shade out of this palette actually is this shade right here. It's a special shade. It's like this pinky gold champagne, and it's super pretty. And I really like using that in like my inner corners and like egg cell, just because like it makes it pop. And I feel like it's one of the most wearable special shades. Like it's very neutral, and just like you can add it to like any look. So I'm just gonna use that. I'm gonna use the Pat McGrath Artistry wand, which will like intensify the color. And it usually also makes it look a little bit more metallic rather than glittery. And I should have used it on my top lid, but I kind of forgot to use it earlier. So I'll also put it on my inner corner here. Yeah, so it's like the perfect like peachy champagne. Okay, so I'm just gonna line my eyes with a dark brown from the Utopian Dream palette. And this is kind of a more like reddish purplish leaning brown. So I feel like it goes well with the look. And it's not too deep either. I feel like it helps make this look more like ethereal. Okay, so someone commented saying that they wanted me to show me like doing my lashes on camera. So I'm just gonna do this time. First I use my regular lash curler and then I just kind of take my mini one and curl the inner and outer corners. Or just like any places where I feel like it's uneven. I feel like my lash curler always curls my lashes unevenly. It probably just means that it doesn't fit my eye shape properly, but I've never found a lash curler that does. Since today's look was pretty pastel, it actually reminded me of the new Natasha Denona pastel palette that's coming out, which I'm really excited for. Even though it's a little bit more colorful and brighter than like my usual look, but I feel really inspired by that palette. I think it's also the timing too, because pastels are perfect for spring. So yes, I'm a sucker for marketing. Oh yeah, this is the Too Faced Better Than mascara. I don't want to say it because I'm not sure if like I would get demonetized, but anyways, I will be picking that pastel palette up once it's released in the US. I also feel like that palette would be nice to have like as an accent palette. Like you don't have to make a full pastel look. If you want to make a more neutral look and then add a pop of pastel, I feel like it would be really nice too. But yeah, definitely I think it's for people who have like a bigger makeup collection or just want to like play with makeup more. Especially I think because of Euphoria makeup and that type of makeup getting popular, I feel like it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone and makes me want to try like different color combinations and like different styles and stuff, and like what I would normally do. This Too Faced mascara used to be my like holy grail. Like basically anytime anyone would ask me like what mascara I was using, it would be this one. Also this is the waterproof version. But yeah, I've been using drugstore mascaras for the past couple of years and I like them, but then I just came back to this one and I kind of forgot like how good it was. Like it's really good. Like it makes my lashes look so pretty, like fluffy, voluminous, separated, long, like basically all the positive adjectives. I'm gonna zoom you out so we can do the rest of the face. Okay, now onto the best part, which is blush. Okay, so I think today I want to go for a more peachy blush to tie in with the transition shade to like bring out that peach. I'm gonna use this Pat McGrath blush in the shade Nude Venus. So if you're new to my channel, you might not know that the Pat McGrath powder blushes are one of my favorite powder blushes like of all time. That's because they're a very different formula than a regular powder blush. They just don't act like a true powder would. They have like a creamy finish on the skin. Yeah, obviously they're not gonna give you like a glow the same way a cream blush would, but they do give you like some luminosity while also blurring and perfecting your skin like a matte powder blush would. And it's just the most beautiful powder blush formula. Like even if you have dry skin, I think you'll like this because it's just not super drying and powdery. Anyway, I've already talked about these blushes like so much on my channel and the shades are so pretty, and you can see like how I have some like luminosity coming through. Obviously some of it is the foundation, but this is the one of the like glowy finishes, so they have like a gold pearl running through them. But the pearl is so fine, like it's not shimmery at all. It doesn't emphasize texture like a lot of more luminous blushes can. You can see how as I'm building up more, it's adding more glow. It is so pretty. So I'm kind of bringing it up higher, kind of into this temple area, just so it can kind of like blend into my whole transition area and just look really seamless. Also, there's definitely a blush for every skin tone in this range. Like she has a really fair one called Flirtatious, which I love, great for light skin tones. And then she also has like some really deep, vibrant blushes. I'm gonna put some over my nose also. But yeah, like she did not have to go this hard with the blush, but she did. Is that not the prettiest peachy nude blush you've ever seen? So I actually don't have a Pat McGrath lip liner. I know that's blasphemous, just because I'm really cheap when it comes to lip liner. So I have like literally 2 higher end ones. That's it. So I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. I'm just gonna overline the cupid's bow a little bit in the bottom and smudge it out. And then I'm gonna go into the Pat McGrath Matte Trans Lipstick in the shade Christy. So it looks like this color. It's kind of like a peachy pink nude shade, and I'm just gonna lightly tap that. These are like super pigmented, but I don't want it to be like full opacity, so I'm just kind of like tapping it. And these are a nice, like really super matte formula. They're also very thin, and they give you kind of that like blurred, powdery lip look. Also not super drying, even though it's like on the powdery matte side. So I do really like that lip formula. And then I'm gonna go in with a Pat McGrath gloss on top. This is in the shade Earth Angel. And her glittery glosses are where it's at, because she just does like these glittery formulas so well. And they're so pretty and really unique. And this is like super pretty sheer. It's kind of like a champagne with a holographic pink shimmer. Anyways, I just took my hair clips out. So what do we think of the final look? this look is perfect for spring, and it's just like the most beautiful pastel dreamy vibe. The lip is actually nuder than what I've been going for recently, and I actually really like it because it's allowing the focus to be like on the eyes and cheeks, and it's just super cute and feminine. I feel like a little spring princess or something, especially like with this dress. I have these poofy sleeves today. That's about it for today's video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like this video, and comment and subscribe down below if you want to see more content like this, because it really helps out my channel and it will really mean a lot to me. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!